David here, CEO and founder of the Freedom Founders community. In Freedom Founders, we have the privilege of working with many professionals, healthcare professionals, business owners, and their spouses. And that's really the fun part. We're not clinical. We don't go into the idiosyncrasies or the technicalities of a business per se, although we talk about business. But what we're really about is creating a lifestyle based on the assets, the technical skills, the training that one has and one brings to the table. And we have different avatars, types of people, archetypes that come to Freedom Founders. A very common one, and there's usually combinations thereof, but a predominantly common type of avatar, if you will, is what I call the builder. A lot of you are builders. You know what I mean. When you got out of school, your dream was always to hit the ground running and build something, right? Build a life, for sure. Build a business, build a practice, get the skill sets, create, design, solve problems. That's who we are. That's our DNA. Most of the time, the person who we marry or find a significance in relationship is our counterpart. Doesn't mean they can't also have an ambition, not taking that away at all. But usually that person is oftentimes more of a supporter, a nurturer, and maybe a protector of the family unit, family environment. Both are very important, and creating that symmetry, that cohesion with those two pieces, those two partners in a marriage or partnership relationship is the key. Here's where the problem exists, and I see this over and over again as we have new members come excited about creating a blueprint for their freedom, which is exactly what we do. It's got people that have a certain amount of assets, and I don't mean just capital assets. That's important. That's a part of it, yes, but also have to have a life that's withstanding conflict. In other words, if there's a lot of issues going on with kids or family, maybe there's just too much debt, consumption debt. Those things don't work because those have to be taken care of first. But let's just say a typical builder is one who's come in, has a business, has a practice, maybe has multiple businesses or practices, has put capital into other assets, certainly might have financial assets in the markets, but oftentimes a builder likes to be closer to the vest, meaning I see true builders wanting to stay in tangible assets. Well, that's really what I did. I like tangible assets. Having a business gives me a hands-on pulse of where my money goes and the investment decisions I make in that business. But even outside of that business, I want my other investments to also be tangible. That's just where I've always been. I think a lot of people who follow me realize that that's a place that they also believe in. Maybe they're not there yet. Maybe they haven't figured out how to do it. But tangible assets bring a lot of benefits. Now, there's also the other side. It requires more time, more diligence. You get control, and with control comes responsibilities. That's what builders do. Builders want to build. They don't want to just give their time or their capital to other people and let them run with it. Oftentimes, these builders come to our blueprint days, and I look at their capital organizer, which is another word for balance sheet. Balance sheet, assets, liabilities. When I look at their balance sheet, many builders have very little, sometimes nothing at all, in the traditional retirement accounts. Well, let's just say that's me. I tried one once 20 some years ago and I didn't like it. So I closed it, terminated it. That's what a lot of people that come to Freedom Founders do. They just terminate those plans. Once they understand that self-directing their capital makes a whole lot more sense, but that's beside the point. These builders who come typically don't have much in the traditional savings of retirement accounts. They don't believe in it like I don't. It's just like, they think any money they're going to invest outside of their business, their primary practice, it's going to be in other stuff that they can actually see, feel, touch, have some input on, partner or collaborate or joint venture with somebody. That's who we are. We love to be on the forefront. And that's great because that's what, in my opinion, that's what it takes to build true wealth. True wealth, and by true wealth, I'm talking about the definition being where you have really freedom and options in your life. That's true wealth. It's not how much money you have, not how much you accumulated. That plays a part. But by definition, wealth to me means you don't have to go to work and trade time for dollars. Most of us still do. Most of us still enjoy it. We enjoy it a whole lot more when we don't have to do it. And that's the whole point of creating a freedom blueprint plan, is taking all the hard work, all the education, all your skill sets, the opportunity you have to serve people, everything you've done, and fold those into a plan that gives you a runway, milestones to measure to a point where you can say, hey, I don't have to do this anymore. I don't have to do it this way anymore. I can change the model of my business or my practice. I don't have to be inured to all these PPO insurance plans. I don't have to have a big practice with 12 operatories or a secondary practice. I don't need it. I can actually maybe enjoy the ride. My longevity lasts a lot longer. So builders, because they don't come with a traditional retirement account, which I'm a fan of, they typically have very disparate, or I call it randomized, equity assets kind of all over the place. You can just imagine a wall and they have different splotches of equities. That can be different things. It can be partial interest in businesses. That could be in real estate, buildings, Airbnb, short-term rentals, some rental properties. Could have a little bit of money in a syndication over here. Could have a little bit of money in crypto over here. Look, not judging any one of those as being bad, but the problem is there's no organization to it. See, builders, because they just like to build, they're always going to be putting their money into something because they want to see that money work. But they don't have the time or ability to dig in and focus on like the one thing, like the main thing, like what should that be? So they try a lot of things because that's just who they are. They're willing to take that risk. And that works when you're young. But when you're getting to a point in life and career where you want to take some chips off the table that allows you to slow down, transition out of a business or practice, do it the way you want to do it, these randomized investments, I call it also spaghetti on the wall investments. It's all over the place. They're not orchestrated to produce what we really need to have freedom. And that's replacement income. Predictable, sustainable, recurring income. And I'm not going to even use the word passive, because as a builder, you're never going to want to be passive. You're always going to have your hand a little bit in the till. Now, that doesn't mean I want to go out and do the work to find the deals, and I still like to negotiate deals, but I don't need to go find them. People bring them to me today because of the network we have. I like to negotiate. I like to put things together. That's kind of a real skill set that pays a lot. You can learn that, where you can take a participation where you put deals together. You can also be partially a funder. Well, that's getting your capital invested. When you have capital that you've built up over the years, that's exactly the point. You want to get that capital invested in something that you believe in, something that you have some level of due diligence and vetting that you can do and feel like you've got some of a handle on it. Nothing guaranteed, of course, but that's why I like tangible assets. And that's why builders like tangible assets. They want to feel like they've got some control, some rights. And I don't mean managerial rights, because that comes with other obligations, but where are your access points to the kind of deals you want? And have you orchestrated a plan? So last weekend, we did a blueprint weekend for our newest members. They come to Dallas. They come as couples. We really help them get clarity in what's important to them. We talk about the 5 freedoms, which is certainly financial, but also time freedom, relationship freedom, health freedom, and legacy, purpose, impact, significance. These are all part and parcel of a well-construed life. And most of the time we focus on what? The financial. Well, that's what gets us up every day. The financial, we've got to pay the bills. We've got to support the family. We've got to pay off the debt. That's the motivator. But taking away the randomized investments. And again, I am a builder too, but understanding how to bring these randomized investments together and make the equity, the net equity, and most of these investments that people have, they'll still have debt on them, because debt, as long as it's used well, is the way to leverage into these tangible assets and build more wealth. But at some point, you've got to take this net equity and turn it into cash flow. And that's where most people miss it. And that's why most people who are builders that have maybe rather significant net worth, equity, they don't know how to turn it into cash flow. They don't even want to do it because that scares them, because they think building more and more is what's going to set them free. And it's the opposite. It's the opposite at that point. When they're in their early 50s or mid 50s, or certainly by 60s, if you're not taking your net capital assets and turning that into replacement income, then you're going to be working a whole lot longer than you need to. And that's the wake-up call that we're able to give and provide insights to our Freedom Founders members who come. Their wives typically are the ones who are thinking, their wives love these men, right? These builders, because they've been the ones who have been out there slaying the dragons for all these years and providing for the family. And that's wonderful. But now they're saying, hey, our time may be running out. Everybody's getting older. Health becomes more and more an issue. Why are we still doing it this way? And the builder will just say, hey, well, that's who I am. But the builder doesn't realize that he's missing the point at that point in time. The builder hasn't really even built other areas of interest outside of being a builder. hasn't taken the time really to devote to the relationships that he, or it could be she, could have, because we're so dedicated to building. Remember, I say we because I've been there. I am that archetype. I was a heavy duty builder for the first 20 years in my career and practice of dentistry, until I had the wake up call of my daughter getting really, really sick, not once, not twice, but 3 times, almost lost her. And that was my wake up call to say, wait, what am I doing? I didn't have randomized investments because I was focused on real estate, but I still had lots of equity that I was still building. And what I learned was, when I needed the time to spend with my daughter, I could take that equity and turn it into cash flow. And that's what I love about capital assets, real estate, alternatives, is you can build the equity when it's your time to build the equity. And that's usually when we're younger. That's where we make the inroads. That's where we build. When we've got energy, we've got time, we've got the vision. But learning how to turn that equity at the right time into cash flow and still have an inflation hedge tied to those assets is the key. And the sooner, I'm going to say this and emphasize it, the sooner that people can understand that and see that that is the plan, then they can make it happen. I love to take these blueprint weekends and help people see the light, where we pencil this out, we put it on a whiteboard, and I look at all the assets with them, right there visually, and I start to show them these are like pieces of a puzzle. And these pieces can be arranged in different ways. The way they're arranged right now is getting you exactly the results you're getting. You're still working hard. You'll still burn it. And you don't know how to get off this treadmill. If we just move these pieces around, do it this way, this way, this way, I can start to free up time for you right now, and potentially for the right people, start to see an exit. Not later, not 5 years or 10 years, but sooner. A lot of doctors and their spouses who come to Freedom Founders have this plan. And they say, I'm 57 years old. And I think I'm going to practice till I'm 65 or 68, whatever it is. That's the plan. But there's no plan other than just time. See, they still think time is what's going to solve the problem. Well, they've had a lot of time already, right? I mean, decades of working in their chosen profession, decades of having millions of dollars flow through their hands. Now, yes, a lot of that goes to overhead and to taxes, but still millions of dollars. What's stuck? What's stuck? And I'm no longer amazed, but I still look at balance sheets of doctors who are in their late 50s, early 60s, mid 60s, approaching 70 years old. Very productive doctors, have certainly lived a great life and certainly provided super well for the families. And they don't have what they should have. And that's the problem. You start early. You start the compound effect of understanding how to make money work for you. You know how to make the money, but to make money work for you is the key. And this is just not taught. This is not taught really anywhere. Yes, I think you could find almost all this information somewhere out there on the internet, on YouTube, and books, blog posts, but putting it together with somebody who understands who you are and who you are as a couple, who you are as a family, what you've gone through to get where you are, that takes a special person. That's who I am, because I'm a product of the product. I've done exactly what I teach others to do, not because I was so smart, but because I was always curious. My curiosity led me to do things that most people don't do. And that's how Freedom Founders came about. I am a contrarian. Many people that are in the standardized investing field, financial planning, they don't like me. I'm not competing with them. I don't take assets under management. I don't do fees for financial management. That's not who I am. I simply connect the dots for people. That's what I love to do. If you're in that place where you've been working hard or don't want to work so hard for 5, 10, 15, 20 more years and keep doing it like everybody else, you owe it to yourself and your family to think about there may be a different way. Again, the proof's in the pudding. I've done it for myself and I've done it for hundreds of others over the years. And this is something we've been doing since 2010. And doing blueprint weekends, I can't tell you how many hundreds of couples we have taken through this process and giving them the clarity and the confidence that they can have a plan that's going to set them free way sooner than they ever thought. It's always up to you to make the decision and take the conviction. And many people still put their head in the sand and say, well, that's scary. I don't want to do that. I don't want to invest in myself anymore. I'll just keep grinding it out. To those people, I say, that's okay. That's your choice. But wouldn't it be interesting to look at another way that has a proven model? I think it is. You have to look hard. You have to be wary. But when there's proof that a model works, maybe it's a good idea to take a look at it. I'm here. I'll be around for a long time, God willing, and I love what I do. It's all about your freedom. You got to take it. Go for it. Don't live your life with regrets.